Extreme poverty. Extreme poverty is like spawning into a video game with no tutorial, no weapons, no armor, just your bare fists. And to make it worse, the game difficulty is set to ultra hard mode. That's life on less than $2.15 a day, less than what you'd pay for a small drip coffee if you even had the luxury of wasting money on coffee in the first place. At this level, nothing about life is secure. Food isn't just scarce, it's inconsistent. You might eat one day, then go hungry the next. Clean water isn't guaranteed either. In fact, what you drink might come with bacteria, parasites, and diseases that your body simply has to fight off, because going to a doctor is never an option. Healthcare is not part of your vocabulary. It's a foreign language. Waking up each day is already survival mode. Think about the first thing you do in the morning. You grab your phone, scroll the news, sip some water, maybe eat breakfast. For someone in extreme poverty, each of those steps is a battle. The phone doesn't exist. The water could be muddy, contaminated, or miles away. The breakfast, if there is one, it's a few bites of rice or bread, not enough to fill an adult, let alone a child. Living here feels like being stuck at the bottom of a deep well with no ladder. Every hour is a race against exhaustion, illness, and scarcity. And the worst part? There's no reset button, no pause, no cheat code to escape. Poverty. Now move up a step. Poverty isn't quite as harsh as extreme poverty, but it's still like playing Monopoly, where every time you pass go, instead of collecting $200, you get hit with a bill. Rent's due, lights need to stay on, the fridge is always half empty. You're not starving every day, but survival is still the main priority. Living in poverty means constantly choosing which fire to put out. Do you pay for dinner tonight, or do you pay the electricity bill so you're not in the dark? Healthcare is still mostly out of reach, but maybe you can get by with over-the-counter medicine when you're sick. School might be available, but good education that leads to better opportunities feels impossible to access. The poverty line shifts depending on where you live. In the United States, you might be considered poor making under $35 a day, but take that same $35 to certain parts of Africa or South Asia, and suddenly you're living relatively well. Poverty isn't just about the number, it's about whether your daily income is enough to cover the bare minimum where you live. But poverty isn't only about dollars, it's about the cycle that keeps you stuck. You don't have the resources for higher education, for training, for tools that could help you climb out. So even if you're not hungry every single day, you're still trapped. Your life choices are limited, your opportunities scarce. Imagine being able to pay rent and eat, but not being able to afford a smartphone in a world where everything, from jobs to banking, requires one. Your friends share memes and group chats while you're still stuck playing Snake on a Nokia 3310. It's survival with slightly better odds, but the cage is still locked tight. Working poor. Now we reach the working poor, people who technically escaped poverty because they have jobs yet they're still broke. You're grinding, sometimes 40, 50, even 60 hours a week. But it doesn't matter how many hours you put in. Your paycheck disappears the same day it arrives. This is treadmill living. You're moving, running, sweating, but you're not getting anywhere. You've got a roof over your head, but it might be a tiny apartment with 3 roommates or a rundown house with repairs you can't afford. Your fridge has food, but it's mostly the cheapest carbs and instant meals. And forget about savings. The word savings doesn't exist in your vocabulary. The working poor are often found in retail, hospitality, fast food, or other low-wage jobs that make the economy spin but don't pay enough to let you climb out of struggle. You're not starving, but you're not thriving either. You might even own things like a car or a TV, but they're either secondhand, breaking down, or bought on credit that keeps you in debt. It's a cruel paradox. You're doing everything society told you to do. You got a job, you're working hard, you're not lazy, yet you're still trapped in a paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. One medical bill, one car accident, one emergency, and the entire fragile structure of your life comes crashing down. That's the reality of the working poor. Lower middle class. This is the level where you've finally broken free from the paycheck to paycheck panic of the working poor. You've got a steady job, maybe in teaching, administration, or the trades. Your bills get paid, the fridge is full, and the car, probably a trusty Toyota, actually starts when you turn the key. You live in a modest home or an apartment in a decent neighborhood. Nothing fancy, but safe and comfortable. Your kids might even get to play in a backyard. Vacations exist, but they're road trips, not flights to Europe. Eating out is a treat, not a habit. The budget is tight but balanced. The lower middle class are experts at financial min-maxing. Every dollar is optimized. Save a little for college, a little for emergencies, maybe even enough for that steak dinner once in a while. But splurge too much, like buying the new iPhone every year, and the whole house of cards starts wobbling. It's stability, but fragile stability. Middle class. Now we're in the Goldilocks zone. The middle class are the 5 out of 10 on the scale of wealth. Not poor, not rich, just right. You've got stability, comfort, and just enough extra money for life's small luxuries. Vacations are annual. Eating out doesn't cause guilt. Upgrading your phone every 2 years is no big deal. Your house might be in the suburbs, your car is reliable, and your kids are in good schools. Teachers teachers, nurses, office workers, these are the faces of the middle class. But here's the catch. You're still not free. You can't retire early. You can't take wild risks, like pouring money into a crazy business idea that could fail. You're comfortable, but comfort comes with caution. Spend too much and you'll be back to ramen noodle nights faster than you can say interest rate hike. Upper middle class. The upper middle class is like sitting in the economy plus section of a plane. You've got more legroom than most, maybe even a glass of wine, but you're still not in first class. You've got a well-paying job, a senior manager, a doctor, a lawyer, or a successful business owner. Your home is in a nice neighborhood. Your kids go to private schools or elite universities, and your vacations involve flights to Europe, not just road trips. You might even have a second car and it's not used, it's new. But despite the comfort, you're still not rich. You can afford luxuries, but you don't live like the super wealthy. You might play golf at a country club, but you're not buying the course. You drink good wine, but you still notice the price tag. You're scratching the surface of wealth, but you haven't broken through. Affluent. Affluence is where wealth stops being about survival and starts being about lifestyle. Imagine a home with a sunlit living room, fine art on the walls, and maybe even a grand piano no one plays. That's the affluent life. You don't worry about bills, you don't check price tags for dinner, and vacations can mean a month in the south of France. Investments aren't just 401ks and savings accounts. They're real estate, high-end stocks, maybe even art collections. At your favorite restaurant, the staff knows your name and your usual order. But affluence isn't billionaire territory. You're not rolling in endless cash. You're not on the Forbes list. You've simply built a financial cushion so soft it feels like a luxury mattress. You've got freedom, flexibility, and the ability to say yes to almost anything without tipping into excess. Millionaire. Crossing into seven-figure net worth is a milestone. Being a millionaire means your assets, minus your debts, add up to at least $1 million. That could be a nice home, a successful business, or a portfolio of stocks and real estate. Millionaires live comfortably, but not always extravagantly. Some splurge on yachts and sports cars, but many just live without stress. College for the kids, paid, retirement, secured, fancy vacations? Absolutely. Everyday worries like, can I afford this bill, are gone. But millionaire status doesn't make you ultra rich anymore, especially in expensive cities. $1 million in San Francisco might buy you a one-bedroom apartment and a parking space. But compared to the average person, you've got options, security, and a lifestyle that looks luxurious from the outside. Multi-millionaire. Now you've leveled up. Multi-millionaires are worth anywhere from $10 million to $99 million. That many zeros changes your entire relationship with money. At this level, you own multiple homes, maybe one in the city, one on the coast, and a ski lodge in the mountains. You drive luxury cars, but not just one, you've got a collection. Vacations aren't just holidays, they're experiences. Private villas, exclusive resorts, and month-long cruises. But beyond lifestyle, multi-millionaires have influence. You're a major investor, a philanthropist, or the owner of businesses that employ hundreds. You don't worry about money, you think about legacy. You can pursue passions without risk, because even if one venture fails, your wealth absorbs the blow. Centimillionaire. Welcome to the nine-figure club. With a net worth over $100 million, you're not just rich, you're rare. Centimillionaires are often hidden behind the spotlight of billionaires, but they live like kings. You can buy companies the way others buy cars. Private jets are normal. You own estates, not houses. When you go on vacation, you don't book a resort. You buy one for the season. Your influence stretches beyond lifestyle. You shape industries, communities, and markets. At this level, money is no longer about freedom or comfort. It's about power. You sit in the same circles as billionaires, and in many ways, you live like one. The only difference, you're not on the cover of Forbes every year. Billionaire. Now we hit God mode. $1 billion is more than you could ever spend in one lifetime. To put it in perspective, if you spent $1,000 every single day, it would take you nearly 3,000 years to run out of $1 billion. Billionaires live in a world apart. Private islands, fleets of yachts, multiple jets, and sprawling empires of companies. You don't just buy luxury, you buy control. A billionaire's money isn't just cash, it's influence over technology, politics, even the future of humanity. But being a billionaire comes with a strange burden. Every decision, every headline, every move you make is watched. You're not just rich, you're responsible for shaping entire industries. Still, compared to the average person, your wealth looks like magic. Multi-billionaire. Now we're in the Bezos-Musk-Buffett zone. Worth tens or hundreds of billions, multi-billionaires exist in a class so exclusive they can change the course of history with a single decision. You don't just own companies, you own markets. You don't just take vacations, you fund space exploration. Your hobbies aren't golf or wine tastings, they're building rocket rockets, shaping artificial intelligence, or rewriting global trade. At this point, your wealth is no longer money, it's an empire. You've transcended rich. You're one of the few people on Earth who can steer civilization itself. Trillionaire. This is the final boss level of wealth. No one has reached it yet, but if someone does, they'll have more money than entire nations. $1 trillion means owning industries, controlling infrastructure, and possibly colonizing space. It means having enough influence to shape global policy without ever running for office. A trillionaire wouldn't just be rich, they'd be a living symbol of power. At this level, you're not playing the game anymore. You are the game. Moving up the wealth ladder is less about the money itself and more about the choices it unlocks. At the bottom, you have no control. Every decision is made for you by circumstance. In the middle, you gain comfort, but not full freedom. At the very top, money transforms into power, the ability to shape your life, your time, and even the world around you. In the end, wealth isn't just numbers in a bank account. It's the difference between surviving, living, and influencing what comes next.